Wagging the tiger, crisscross applesauce, hands in our lap, voices off. Thank you, Primary Academy. This video is going to look a little bit different today. It's because I'm here at my home. Let's go through our SWAT. Primary Academy scholars will be able to, first, move to music. Second, discover the rhythm of the day. And third, discover some characters from Peter and the Wolf. So let's start by moving to music. I'm going to go back, and the song that we're going to listen to today is called Tenderness. So I have my scarf here. It's got moose on it, and that's what I'm going to use to match my music today as we do our moving to music. And I have a song. As we listen to that song, if the music is high, make your scarf up high. If it's low, bring your scarf down low. If it's bouncy, make your scarf bouncy. If it's smooth, scarf move smooth. Is it fast or is it slow? You're going to show me with your scarf. Maybe you don't have a scarf. You can use a piece of fabric, an old t-shirt. You can use your just fingers. I even thought as I was walking up my stairs to come record my video, I could use like a plastic shopping bag. I think that would work too. So here we go. Make your scarf match the music. All right, the next thing we're going to do is discover our rhythm of the day. So I'm going to click forward so you can see that. In our last video, we talked about these two different kinds of notes. There's a bunch of different kinds of notes, but to start, we're just going to focus on two. If you see a straight line that goes straight up and down, we call that ta. If you see two going up and down that's connected by a top, looks like a table from the side, we call that titi. We have ta and titi. Here's our rhythm of the day. I want you to look at that for a second. If you can read the sounds below, great. You can read the sounds. If you can't read those sounds and figure out what those sounds are, you can look at it and see if you notice the difference between the sticks straight up and down or the two sticks connected at the top. All right, let's look at the first one. We have two sticks connected at the top. We're going to call that one titi. Titis go kind of fast. The next one we have is a ta, straight up and down. That just makes one kind of medium sound. Ta, ta. Next, we have another titi, titi. And last, we have another ta. So I'm going to say and clap the rhythm using ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. And I'm just going to repeat that a few times. And then I'll say fine, and fine means stop. Stop, the sound is over. All right, so when you hear what I'm doing, I want you to clap and say it with me. Here we go. Ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. Fine. The sound is done. Next time we have music, we're going to learn a new kind of sound and add that into our rhythms. Okay. Today we are going to start to talk about Peter and the Wolf. Peter and the Wolf is a wonderful song, a wonderful story, and we will do Peter and the Wolf today in this video and then in our first video for next week also. So I wrote up a list of just things I thought were important to know about Peter and the Wolf. So here are the things that I thought you might want to know. First, I wrote it is a story that is set to music. A narrator tells a story, and the instruments of the orchestra play the story. Each instrument represents a character. If it represents, that means it kind of stands in for, or you'll notice as we get into this, that I will show you a character, and then I will have you listen to that character's sound. And that character sound is special for that character. It was written in 1936 for a children's theater, which means it was written kind of a long time ago, a little bit before my grandma was born, for a children's theater. Minnesota has a wonderful children's theater. I saw A Year with Frog and Toad there, so hopefully after all this sickness goes away and the theaters open back up, maybe your family could one day go to the children's theater in Minneapolis. And it was written by a guy named Sergei Prokofiev, who's a wonderful composer. A composer is someone who writes music. Just like an author writes books, a composer writes music. So those are some things I thought you should know about Peter and the Wolf. Next, I thought I'd read you the story of Peter and the Wolf. There's a few pictures on the sheet that I have there, but if you don't want to look at the pictures, right now is a time you could maybe close your eyes, you could sit back and relax. And I'm going to read you the story of Peter and the Wolf. Here we go. Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and walked out into the great big meadow. On a branch of a big tree sat a little bird, Peter's friend. "All is quiet," chirped the bird happily. Just then, a duck came walking around. She was glad that Peter had not closed the gate and decided to take a nice swim in the deep pond in the meadow. Seeing the duck, the little bird flew down upon the grass, settled next to her, and shrugged her shoulders. "What kind of bird are you if you can't fly?" said he. To this the duck replied, "What kind of bird are you if you can't swim?" and dived into the pond. They argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond and the little bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's attention. He noticed a cat crawling through the grass. The cat thought, "That little bird is busy arguing. I'll just grab him." Stealthily, the cat crept towards him on her velvet paws. "Look out!" shouted Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree while the duck quacked angrily at the cat from the middle of the pond. The cat walked around the tree and thought, "Is it worth climbing up so high? By the time I get there, the bird will have flown away." Just then, Grandfather came out. He was upset because Peter had gone into the meadow. "It's a dangerous place. If a wolf should come out of the forest, then what would you do?" But Peter paid no attention to his grandfather's words. Boys like him are not afraid of wolves. But Grandfather took Peter by the hand, led him home, and locked the gate. No sooner had Peter gone than a big gray wolf came out of the forest. In a twinkling, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked, and in her excitement jumped out of the pond. But no matter how hard the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. He was getting nearer and nearer, catching up with her. Then he got her, and with one gulp, swallowed her. And now this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on one branch, the bird on the other, not too close to the cat, and the wolf walked around and around the tree, looking at them with greedy eyes. In the meantime, Peter, without the slightest fear, stood behind the closed gate, watching all that was going on. He ran home, got a strong rope, and climbed up a high stone wall. One of the branches of the tree around which the wolf was walking stretched over the wall. Grabbing hold of the branch, Peter lightly climbed over onto the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle over the wolf's head. Only take care that he doesn't catch you." The bird almost touched the wolf's head with her wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at him from this side and that. How the bird worried the wolf, how he wanted to catch him. But the bird was clever, and the wolf simply couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Peter made a lasso and, carefully letting it down, caught the wolf by the tail and pulled it with all his might. Feeling himself caught, the wolf began to jump wildly, trying to get loose. But Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree, and the wolf's jumping only made the rope around his tail tighter. Just then, the hunters came out of the woods, following the wolf's trail and shooting as they went. But Peter, sitting in the tree, said, "Don't shoot! Bertie and I have caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." And now imagine the triumphant procession, Peter at the head, after him the hunters leading the wolf, and winding up the procession, Grandfather and the cat. Grandfather shook his head discontentedly. Well, and if Peter hadn't caught the wolf, what then? Above them flew Bertie, chirping merrily. My, what brave fellows we are, Peter and I. Look what we have caught. And if one would listen carefully, he could hear the duck quacking inside the wolf, because the wolf in his hurry had swallowed her alive. So that is the story of Peter and the Wolf. Today, we're going to listen to the sounds of 4 of the characters in Peter and the Wolf. And in our next video, I'll show you the other characters, and I'll give you a link where you can watch Peter and the Wolf on your own and kind of see some of the pictures. Disney made a wonderful retelling of Peter and the Wolf in a little animated thing. Okay, so let's look at the different characters in Peter and the Wolf. The first one is Peter. Peter is played by the string section. So anytime in our story, Peter does something. So when he skips into the meadow and when he does anything big in the story, you'll hear Peter's theme, Peter's song. And Peter's song is played by the string section. In that picture, you'll see a picture of Peter, and he's standing next to a violin. So this is the sound of Peter in Peter and the Wolf. Okay, I think that sounds very bouncy. As I listen to that, I picture Peter kind of skipping through the meadow. The next character we'll listen to today is the bird. So every time you see the bird doing something or hear the bird doing something, you will hear this sound. So maybe when the bird is flying around the wolf's head, trying to distract him so that Peter can catch him, you'll hear the bird sound. When you hear the bird arguing with the duck who's sitting in the pond, you will hear this sound. The sound of the bird is played by the flute. There's a picture of the bird and a picture of a flute just below him. This is what the bird sounds like. I like that sound because it is fast, and I picture a bird flying very quickly around the head of a wolf when I hear that. The next character we will hear is the duck. So you would hear this sound when maybe the duck was swallowed up whole by the wolf, or when the duck was arguing with the bird. The sound of the duck is played by the oboe. So this is the sound of the duck. I think I like the duck sound the most. When I hear that, I just picture a duck swimming around a pond. But that's just me. All right, the last one we're going to listen to today is the sound of the cat. So you might hear this sound in Peter and the Wolf when the cat was trying to capture the bird and thought, is it really worth climbing all that way up the tree? The sound of the cat is played by the clarinet. So in that picture, you'll see a cat standing right next to a clarinet. This is what the sound of the cat is in Peter and the Wolf. Picture a cat slinking around underneath a tree looking up at the bird, thinking, could I catch him? Okay. In our next video, I will show you the other characters in Peter and the Wolf. There's Grandfather, there's the wolf, there are the hunters, and Mrs. Elves might be forgetting one right now. We will listen to those, and then I will put a link in the description. I'll do it today too. I'll put a link in the description of one way that you can hear the story of Peter and the Wolf if you find this interesting. For now, we only have one thing left to do, and that is to do our train exit. So breathe with me, Primary Academy. Here we go. Thank you for learning about music with me. Have a magical musical day, and I'll see you next time.